The South China Sea is one of the world's most dangerous flashpoints. Every day, American and Chinese warships shadow each other, watching, waiting, testing nerves. On one tense afternoon, the stakes rose higher than ever. A Chinese destroyer received an order to intercept the American aircraft carrier USS Nimitz, one of the most powerful warships ever built. What followed was a dangerous game of brinkmanship, where a single mistake could have ignited a war between superpowers. The Nimitz sailed through contested waters, escorted by American destroyers. Chinese commanders scrambled their own ships. On the horizon appeared a Type 05 2D guided missile destroyer, armed with long-range anti-ship missiles. Its course was unmistakable: block the path of the American strike group. From China's newest aircraft carrier, J-15 fighters thundered into the sky, streaking low over the sea to shadow the American fleet. The message was clear: you are being watched and you are not welcome here. For hours, the two navies circled each other. Chinese ships crossed dangerously close. American aircraft patrolled constantly overhead. Every maneuver carried meaning. Every radio call was a test of will. Neither side wanted to be the first to back down. The U.S. Navy's response was swift and calculated. From the deck of the Nimitz, E-2 Hawkeye radar aircraft launched, expanding the fleet's eyes across hundreds of miles. Their spinning domes scanned the skies, detecting every fighter, every missile battery. Moments later, FA-18 Super Hornets roared into the air, afterburners glowing as they formed a protective wall around the carrier. Above the waves, American power was visible, but below the surface it was invisible and even more threatening. Stealth submarines silently maneuvered into position, ready to strike if conflict erupted. No Chinese captain could forget that beneath the sea lurked vessels armed with Tomahawk missiles and torpedoes. This was no longer a routine patrol. It had become a three-dimensional chess match. Surface ships, submarines, fighters, and radar planes all moved in delicate balance. Every move invited a countermove. Every signal was weighed carefully. Was it a warning, a bluff, or the first step toward war? In modern warfare, the contest is not only steel and firepower, it is also about energy and information. Chinese destroyers switched on electronic warfare systems, jamming communications and radar. American screens filled with static and false signals. But the U.S. Navy was prepared. Countermeasures restored secure links between ships, satellites, and aircraft. Invisible beams of energy had become weapons as each side struggled to blind the other without firing a single shot. In the 21st century, information dominance can decide battles before the first missile is launched. The stakes could not be higher. A U.S. carrier strike group is not just ships. It represents billions of dollars in military hardware, thousands of sailors, and American credibility. It is the promise to allies that the United States will defend international waters. For China, the South China Sea is more than ocean. It is a shield, a lifeline, and a symbol of rising power. Allowing an American carrier to pass unchallenged would be humiliation. That is why even the smallest detail became dangerous. What if a Chinese radar locked onto an American jet for 1 second too long? What if an American destroyer fired a warning flare that was misinterpreted as an attack? In such a crowded, tense environment, accidents are not just possible. They are almost inevitable. And one accident could transform a standoff into full-scale war. Around the world, allies and rivals were watching closely. Japan, South Korea, the Philippines, and Australia followed every report. If the U.S. Navy retreated, its credibility in Asia would collapse. If China backed down, its claim of dominance would suffer. Neither side believed it could afford to blink first. Hour after tense hour passed. Destroyers shadowed destroyers. Fighters circled above. Submarines waited silently below. Electronic signals crackled in the air, each side probing, testing, daring the other to make a mistake. And yet both sides knew the terrible cost of miscalculation. A missile fired in anger would not just sink a ship, it could drag the entire world into conflict. At last, both sides eased their grip. The Chinese destroyer altered course. The Nimitz continued its patrol, but with a cautious eye on the horizon. The J-15s returned to their carrier. The submarines slipped back into the deep. No missiles, no explosions. But the confrontation was far from harmless. Because in this dangerous game, every close call leaves scars. The message was clear. The South China Sea remains a battlefield of nerves. China had challenged a U.S. Navy ship and came dangerously close to igniting a global war. And as both navies prepare for the next encounter, one question haunts strategists everywhere. How many more close calls can humanity survive before restraint gives way to catastrophe? Today's standoff may have ended peacefully, but the tension in the South China Sea reminds us that a single spark could change the balance of power. What do you think? Are we on the edge of open conflict or just playing another dangerous game of brinkmanship? Share your thoughts in the comments, and don't forget to subscribe and hit the bell for more global military analysis.